Elon Musk finally unblocked me on Twitter. So, a big thanks to everybody who replied to his tweets and tagged me, asking him kindly to do so. But sorry to disappoint, this doesn't mean that I'm going to start tweeting again. I'll get into that and what I think really happened with this. So, a couple days ago, he tweeted asking, "What are your top requests for Twitter features and bug fixes?" And then I took that link and posted it on my Telegram, which is sort of like a Twitter alternative, put out the call to action again to ask, well, a feature request would be to unblock me. And then about an hour or two later, he did. But the interesting thing is, he unblocked everybody that he had previously blocked. So that could be an incredible coincidence, or maybe he finally realized that blocking potential customers of his, now that he's trying to turn it into a paid app, which buying the blue check mark is just the beginning of it, is a bad business strategy. And a couple weeks ago, I did send a copy of my book, The Liberal Media Industrial Complex, to him at the Twitter headquarters in San Francisco. And I can't imagine that anybody is sending, letters or physical packages to anybody. Everything is done on social media now. People don't even call or email. Back in the day, people would write physical letters to television shows to complain or to the news. And then they had the 800 numbers for news tips. And then they had an email. And now nobody does any of that stuff. So I went old school, sent him a copy of the book. Maybe he got it. Maybe it put the bug in his ear. He's kind of familiar with the name. He got tired of people asking to unblock. And then the light bulb went off just to unblock everybody. So regardless of what happened, if that is a weird coincidence, if it's a coincidence. So big thanks to everybody who did that. A lot of people thought I was crazy. They're like, he's never going to see these tweets. He gets 10,000 tweets a second. This is just a dumb idea. He's never going to unblock you. Well, he did. Let's get into some of the good, bad, and the ugly of Twitter and why I'm still not tweeting. And if you're using Twitter, if you're thinking about using Twitter, I do have some advice that I think everybody should follow. Now, it's a good I'm still using Twitter. I use it to news gather. I'm just not tweeting because for me, I get sucked into these rabbit holes of arguments and discussions, and that's what it's kind of designed for. It's a big time suck. And especially if you're a public figure, people start tweeting about you or responding to your tweets. You can't help but want to respond. And I did have a good time getting into a bunch of Twitter beefs. You may recall that for years I would do an annual video of the celebrities who blocked me on Twitter. But it's designed to trigger dopamine rushes by all the retweets. And, oh, did any blue check celebrities retweet me or like my tweets? And for me, it was just a big time suck. So I have broken my habit of tweeting. I use it to news gather and to track what's going on. And so Elon has made some good changes, and we'll get into that, and some of the bad changes, the good, the bad, and the ugly, like I said. So the trending list appears to have been fixed because, as you know, they were inserting topics to create self-fulfilling prophecies, to try to give the appearance that certain things were popular, to then get people to start tweeting about them, because Twitter still does, and for years, has driven the news cycle. So we've seen things like Operation Mockingbird. I saw it trending at least 2 different times. Alex Jones was trending earlier today. Okay, so that's a big fix. Got to commend him for that. And if you're on Twitter, there's some great accounts to follow, like BIPOC Doing Racism and Anti-White Watch, accounts that probably would have been banned under the previous ownership. Okay, BIPOC, by the way, means Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And so doing racism. So it's basically just posting people being anti-white to show the rise of anti-whiteism. Same with Anti-White Watch. It's at Anti-White Watch 1. Okay, so some good accounts that would have been totally shut down by the previous ownership. He restored Donald Trump's account, even though Donald Trump isn't using it. He still may. I have a feeling that as the 2024 election gets closer, he may start tweeting again. It's too big of a platform not to. He has access to his Facebook page again, but hasn't posted over there either. At this point, it's so early in the race, you don't want to do it. So the first time that he does tweet or does post on Facebook, it's going to be a huge news event. So he's probably waiting just for that. But Donald Trump also has financial obligations with True Social, which I heard expire in June, or at least the part where he has to post exclusively over there. And then it'll change where he can post there, and then 4 or 6 hours later, he can post on another platform. And that may be why he also hasn't posted on Facebook as well, because he may not be allowed to under the contract that he has with his investors in Truth Social. But I'm sure that the time is coming soon. And, a lot of people think, well, why even use Facebook? Nobody still uses Facebook. No, a lot of people do use Facebook. And you're never going to get a network effect. Like your aunt and your grandma aren't going to quit Facebook and join Gab. Okay. So there are still a lot of people, the normies, as the kids say, right? Of course, there's still censorship on Twitter. I don't know if you were following this story about Eliza Blue, the supposed human trafficking survivor who's just a massive grifter. Her story has so many holes in it. It's worse than Swiss cheese. So there's a YouTube streamer named Brittany Venti who kind of helped uncover this, posted a screenshot of a music video that she did years ago that completely interrupts her entire timeline. And so Elijah Blue, which isn't even her real name, she's gone by half a dozen different pseudonyms over the years. She is abusing the Twitter privacy tools and having people censored and locked out of their accounts for exposing her. And so she was in a Twitter space talking directly to Elon Musk. She has the ear of the new head of the Trust and Safety Department. So Twitter is still enforcing bogus terms of service that censor people. And this woman is claiming that Brittany Venti and others posted a non-consensual photograph of her, insinuating that it was revenge porn. And it wasn't. It was a public video that she did that she was proud of for World Star Hip Hop. And that timeline that when she did that video completely conflicts. Whole other story. Okay. Elon was just at the World Government Summit, however, and denounced world government.
One thing I should say, and I know this is called the World Government Summit, but I think we should be maybe a little bit concerned about actually becoming too much of a single world government. If I may say, that we want to avoid creating a civilizational risk by having, frankly, this may sound a little odd, too much cooperation between governments. If you look at, say, at history and the rise and fall of civilizations, that really all throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen, but it hasn't meant the doom of humanity as a whole, because there've been all these separate civilizations that were separated by great distances. And so, say like while Rome was falling, Islam was rising, and so you had like the sort of caliphate doing incredibly well while Rome was doing terribly. And that actually ended up being a source of preservation of knowledge.
But at the same time, he banned Kanye West, which even if Kanye's tweet, when it wasn't inciting violence, he posted a picture of the Raelian cult symbol, which incorporates a swastika and the Star of David. And for those who don't know, the swastika used to be a Hindu symbol that was then appropriated or used by the Nazis. So that's what it's now synonymous with. So Elon literally just banned him and then claimed that that was an incitement to violence. But even if he posted a tweet that violated the terms of service, ordinarily that tweet would have been taken down. Elon or Kanye would have had to click the little button that says, "Oh, yes, I acknowledge I broke your rules. I'm sorry." Would have let back on. Or, given a week suspension, 7 days, what you did is terrible. Go sit in the corner and think about what a bad person you are, right? So he should not have been banned. That tweet should have never even been taken down. But even if it did violate the terms of service by posting some, hateful thing, which is, of course, just usually stuff that those in power hate, he should be allowed back on Twitter. Arid J. Alerte has not been restored on Twitter either. One of the only few of a handful of accounts who haven't been let back on. His book, by the way, was banned from Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com a few years ago, but I didn't hear a single word from any conservative who's on the front lines of the culture war, fighting against cancel culture and censorship, even remotely mention it, although I've been talking about it for years. It does appear that some used copies are on eBay, however. But the activists, of course, are trying to get books taken down from all the platforms. There's some smaller online websites that sell books to Thrift Books, Better World Books, Books A Million, that may have certain books that have been banned from Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Also, sadly, Alex Jones still not restored back on Twitter. Alex was banned, of course, not for his Sandy Hook stuff. He was banned because he live streamed on Periscope, which is a Twitter app that's now defunct, a conversation, really, I'm sorry, it wasn't a confrontation, with CNN's Oliver Darcy. And also Owen Schroyer, still banned. Interesting, Harrison Smith has been restored. Harrison Smith works for InfoWars, and just a couple days ago, his account was reinstated. So most of the people who were banned have been reinstated. You probably know who they are, with the exception of a select few, like I said. But then Twitter Trust and Safety announced that they were allowing people to appeal their suspension if they didn't get reinstated in the original first wave of reinstatements. And that was at least a week ago. And so that might have been why Harrison Smith was restored. Again, he was bypassed in the first wave. So maybe at some point, in another week or two, Alex Jones and Owen Schroyer and Rob Dew could get restored. Now, I know Elon said that, Alex is a terrible person. He has no sympathy for him. But I think Elon could have it both ways. I think when Elon was personally intervening to unban accounts, and he said, no, not going to do it. Double down, triple down, quadruple down on not reinstating Alex's account. That could have just meant not doing it personally, not personally intervening. So Elon could kind of have it both ways and say, well, he appealed the account. The appeal board decided, yep, he was unfairly banned. Elon could say he didn't have anything to do with it. He didn't personally intervene. Okay, but if Elon was a principled free speech guy, he would have restored Alex's account, regardless of what he personally thinks of him. But like I said, there's certain people, like Proud Boy's account, haven't been restored. Okay, Arid J. Alerte's account hasn't been restored. So there's definitely some major flaws in Elon's reasoning and support for supposed free speech. I don't even want to get into Elon wanting us to put a computer chip into our brain. Some of his fanboys think that that's only for the disabled, his company Neuralink. But no, he's made it very clear that he wants humans to merge with AI in the transhumanist revolution. And he thinks that that's the only way for humans to be able to compete with AI, is to be able to sort of merge with it, but then by having an interface with it. And that's like dancing with the devil, man. This is literally what Elon wants the future of mankind to be. You would be much better off to live like the Amish, okay, than doing this. And the same thing happened with his OpenAI, all right, which is the company behind ChatGPT, which they're severely limiting what it can do, and it's extremely biased. And everybody knows it now. It's kind of old news. But this woman said, well, Elon says that AI is one of the biggest risks to civilization and needs to be regulated. And then she said, well, he co-founded OpenAI. He responded, OpenAI was created as an open source, which is why I named it OpenAI. Open source means you can see the source code. There's no secrets about how it functions and how it makes its decisions. He says a nonprofit company to serve as a counterweight to Google. But now it has become a closed source maximum profit company effectively controlled by Microsoft. So what do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So he created the one of the most sophisticated artificial intelligence systems with a good intention, and now it's out of his control. I don't think he's even, part of the company anymore. He might be a shareholder in it, but right there, he admits, well, we tried to create this company for one reason, and then it's been hijacked by big tech and is now being used for evil. At one point, Elon may start worshiping Lucifer and tell people to worship Lucifer. He says, too many people have lost faith in the future. A new philosophy is needed. No, we have an old philosophy. It's called the Bible. It's called Christianity. It's called the Word of God. Now, if you're going to use Twitter, do not use your real name. Do not use your actual photo in the profile photo. Just make up a name or just put in a bunch of random characters. This is literally a meme. Get fired from your job in 5 to 10 years. Join Twitter today. Say anything you want, wait 5 years, surprise, you're fired. Because Twitter incentivizes dogpiling, and its search feature allows people to just dig through old tweets. And as the culture has changed, or if somebody is just saying something off the top of their head or drunk tweeting, later those tweets can come back and have come back to haunt you. So if you are going to use Twitter, do not use your real name. Put your account on private, okay? And that way you won't even be tempted to tweet. Yeah, I could see using Twitter like I do now just as an information gathering tool, right? And I'm not going to say who, but I had a very famous person tell me that I should create a burner account and then just put it on private and never tweet. And then you won't be tempted to tweet, but also it has other advantages as well, because then you can follow people and they don't know that it's you following them. And other people can't go and click and see who it is that you're following. They start nosying around, right? Also, people who are like me in the business, a lot of times when you follow another personality, they'll just fill your DMs with personal requests for retweets. Hey, could you retweet this for me? Hey, look at this video that I did. Hey, look at me. Look at me. I don't care. I'm following you on Twitter. That's why I'll see it if I need to. And so I had to literally mute most of the personalities in the business, because Twitter just becomes this extension of narcissism. And I don't need to see people's what they think are clever tweets and clever responses and just random observations about nothing that has to do with the topics at hand. So if you're going to use Twitter, that is my advice. I do, however, use Gab. I'm very active on Gab. So if you want my hot takes for things that can't be said on Facebook or YouTube, or linking up videos that I can't show in YouTube, that's on my Gab, gab.com/markdice. The only downside to Gab is that there aren't a lot of major news sources there, okay? But it's the only place that truly allows free speech. And it's not in the App Store. You have to go to the website on your phone and then save the browser, save it as a bookmark, or on Apple, you can save it to the home screen, and it functions just like an app. But you don't get the push notifications, which are just a waste of time and attention anyway. Always just screaming for your attention if somebody likes your comment. So it's a good idea to turn off notifications for most things. So I'm active on Gab, and really in the YouTube comments. This is my favorite community. Despite the problems that YouTube has, it's still a fantastic platform to reach a large amount of people. And the comment section on my YouTube channel is really my favorite social media platform. And it is social media. Television is a presentation. YouTube is a conversation. So I appreciate all the comments. I respond to, maybe a couple dozen a day. When I heart them, I read them. But just because I didn't heart them doesn't mean that I didn't read them. And by the way, if you haven't heard, I have a brand new shirt, which you can order from markdice.com. It's probably going to get banned soon, so get it while you can. It's the I Love White People shirt. And I would not recommend wearing this in public in many areas, because certain people have impulse control problems that could, put you in a tough spot. So maybe if you're just, black or Hispanic or Asian or Arab, this would be a great way for you to show support for white people and that you despise the growing and systemic anti-whiteism. So head on over to markdace.com or click the link in the description below and check it out.